with my buddy Dash for this episode of Double Take. Dave, I just said joined by Dash, but we're joined by Dash
Talking
and
in
Dave.
the third person. That's
The way you
weird.
feel.
The way you feel.
Five, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to the shit show. Because I had to wait a little bit so we didn't get demonetized, so I can swear now. Get it? There's a certain time monitor. Hey, everybody, welcome to a very fun episode, YouTube exclusive, where Dave and I listen to Sam absolutely do some fun stuff, some shenanigans. Dave, how are you?
I am doing excellent. I've been waiting for this one. Sam, we haven't seen you in, I don't know, at least a couple months now. It's you're well missed. You were actually requested by name in our Discord server. So, buddy, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. You know, I'm getting my footballing joy through the lower leagues right now. I'm following Cosenza very closely.
They just won.
We edged out a disgusting game against Brescia. So we're sending another dirty northern dog back down to City of Chief. If we could just hold it together, I'm in an okay mood. I have very low expectations as a Juventino now as to how this all may turn out for us. So, you know, I don't know that I'm that like frustrated anymore. I'm just so beaten down that I'm kind of used to it. But yeah, it's been a weird week. It's been a weird week, and I've been sitting on a few ideas. Just kind of trying to understand what exactly is going on right now with the current point deduction. I say the current one because there will be a future one. There was a past one. It's been a real shit show of a season. But man, I don't know. I'm my brain is in a bit of a pretzel, to be honest with you. There is a lot of information as to how this all was able to take place. There's stuff that was happening which I wasn't even aware of in the background in the courts. I guess that's on me for not paying attention to the news cycle. But was I the only one who was kind of like caught with my pants down when right before the Empoli game the point deduction got announced? I feel like the players were caught with their pants down. That's
Yeah,
certainly the
so
narrative.
we didn't really know. There was talks, okay, it's going to happen Monday. So leading up to it, it's going to happen Monday before the match. And then a few hours before the match, they're now saying, oh, it might get released just after the match now. And then, of course, just before the match started, which just happened to be just as the Roma match ended, the announcement came out. So they screwed with our heads, absolutely.
You wonder if they're trying to really dick slap us.
Oh, they are.
If they're, well, I mean, it certainly looks that way. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But it's hard to it's hard to refute it. Or I guess you could refute it, but I'd say it's pretty easy to make the argument that, you know, look, they're out to get us when they're pretty flagrantly doing things that are, they being the federation, you know, when they're pretty flagrantly doing things that just impede our ability to, I suppose, like create the best result possible on a sporting level. You know what I mean? Taking points away, that affects the sporting result of the league. Is that the right word to use in English? In Italian, they'll say like, you know, sul livello sportivo, like on a sporting level. I guess, yeah, like on a sporting level. You know, then dropping bombshells on the team minutes after, you know, they've finished warming up. It feels like they're doing everything they can to try to fuck with the actual integrity of the league and how it plays out, directly or indirectly. I don't know.
Well, you do have people, whether they're connected to the team or just neutrals or from a different league, you even have Sardi saying it. Just how ridiculous it is, really, that it's a joke. Everyone can see that it's a joke. And it's ridiculous because on one hand, everyone's saying Serie A is back. We have an Italian team in each European final. But then look at what they're doing at the same time. Maybe it's like you're jerking off with your left hand. It's awkward. You know it's wrong.
I'm a lefty because I heard it was better. So I just
touche. But
No,
Yeah,
not
I
that
was
that's
just
sorry.
gonna say
Yeah.
before we get weird, I got to give the disclaimer out to the viewers.
The following program is rated TV MA LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Cock, ass, titties. Boom. There we go. Now we're good. Disclaimer's good.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I feel much better now.
Now just let it out, Daddy. I mean, what?
I mean, yeah. Look, So when it all started when I was about 14. It all started when I was about 14, and I began sitting on my left hand and was just trying stuff out, really, and eventually it just became too familiar. And now it's kind of like practicing with the left foot, like I'm pretty ambidextrous now.
I got to ask you this. Was
On the
it
pitch.
because you watched the Family Guy episode where Peter Griffin is sitting on the couch and everyone's like, Peter's like, hey, you guys ever tried jerking off with just your after sitting on your hand? It's like totally someone else is beating you off for it.
Maybe. This is a good imitation.
Yeah, out of body
It's
experience, literally.
It's a good Peter Griffin you just did there. I'd
That's
say
right.
no. Well, not on its own. I think it was kind of like it was a multitude of. There were a number of times that I had heard it. Yeah, people allude to it in school, I guess. But I'd seen it on a couple of shows. Family Guy might have been one of them, but I think it was a movie we watched, and we were reading The Apprenticeship of Duddy Kravitz by Mordecai Richler. Was a Montreal author. We were reading it in English class, and then when we were done reading the book, we watched the movie. And at one point, in the barracks at like a camp they were at up north in the country, there was a guy who was like one of the side characters, I guess, who was like caught jerking off in his like bunk bed or something. The main character was like, "Hey, there," and it was like from the 50s or the 60s, so he spoke really weird, right? He was like, or at least that's when it was based. I think it was based on like the 1950s. That's when the story takes place. So he's like, "Hey, there you go, there you go, Stifler, there, get at it, why don't you? Hey, why don't you try it with your left hand? It'll feel even better." And, just so like you'd hear about it a lot, and eventually that's what
It's
led me
definitely
to
So
yeah, it's big in pop culture.
So the question Misak is asking, how do we transition from a point penalty? It's more so it's the moral of the story is FIGC was sitting on their left hand while absolutely beating it off when it came to giving us the point deduction on there.
They know it's wrong, but it feels good. That's where it
Yes.
started.
That's pretty much the moral of the story there, because the thing that I thought was interesting that like Paramount Plus anchors were calling it out. Besides one, which is kind of ironic, but
They always have the one, of course.
I'm not going to name the one, but the thing is like
You could not name him, but just so you know, it's not like the elephant in the room where we all know. I have no idea who you're talking about, so you could not name him, but I don't know who you're referring to.
But yeah,
it seems like you don't want to name him. I don't know why. I don't know what you're afraid that like the CIA is like pointing a.
No, it's just not a good look for the brand, but it's kind of ironic. But the thing is, it's interesting because it's like, we always knock on Paramount Plus for having some of the most outlandish takes or like some of the weirdest call outs and anything like that. But like, this is one of the few times where, and the funny thing is the person that called it out was a guy that's not even on the show. He's like on the, like one of those on the street anchors that always goes in for like the big matches and stuff like that, where he like comes in and he's like, yeah, this is like total BS, like how this happened, and like this makes absolutely no sense. And he's like, this is an absolute clown show from Italy. And like, the Juventino on Paramount Plus doesn't even say anything about it, which I was just like, dude, that's your squad. And you can't even comment about that, but whatever.
He's probably trying to keep that neutrality because he'll probably get called out if he says something.
Yeah, but
you guys watch this. I cut my finger earlier today with like a straight blade. It was bleeding out pretty bad, even though it was just like a really sharp cut, but it was also very thin because it's a razor blade. So what tends to happen when you experience that sort of thing, when a little razor blade cuts you, is you have to like seal it right away. You have to just wash the fucking blood off. You have to like disinfect it, and you throw a Band-Aid on it, and generally it will like just seal after like a couple hours, and that's what it's done. So I have a Band-Aid here, and I'm gonna try to Kobe this into a garbage can across the room, which you won't see. It's off camera, but I will be honest with you. If I don't get it, I'll tell you. But if I do, how's this? If I get this in, Juve aren't going down to Serie B next year. And I don't think I'm getting this in. I'm shooting it lefty. I'm good at jerking off with my left hand, but I'm not good at shooting with my right hand. So let alone my left here. But look, 1, 2, 3, rimming out. I really do think we're going down to Serie B. That's what I think. I think they don't give a fuck. Honestly, the FIGC is sending a very clear message. I think they're trying to let's forget about everything on a sporting level over here, because obviously it hasn't been a great year. And there's a lot that's been, left to be desired, I guess, by the performances. You want to blame the coach, you want to blame the
players, whatever. Yeah, but Massimo, we kind of put a disclaimer at the beginning that this is a little bit more out of, just direct sporting. We are going to have a little bit fun and straight away. So, like, if it's not your cup of tea,
this
it's not
is
your cup of
put
tea.
together basically because us as Giuntoli are kind of pissed off, and we just want to dick around and have some fun and kind of let the steam off. And yeah, it's just an off the cuff one.
I don't think he's calling us out for talking about jerking off with the left hand. I think he's saying, say their name. Say the name.
Yeah, and they do want to know their name. But yeah, just a discllaimer in general. Yeah, we're going to go down some rabbit holes.
All right.
Who was it?
I don't want to say it.
Whatever, we can watch it ourselves.
Just watch it. Just rewatch it. That's all I'll say.
Man, I think the message is clear. I like what Giuseppe said about this. Bognani was talking about how they seem to be looking to send a message. Calcio's back is what they're saying. The advertisement for that is really cringe, but it's the drum they're beating right now. Calcio's back, and nowhere to be found right now in any of the advertisement is Juve, right? And I guess for a time they were saying Calcio's back because there are a number of semifinalists in European football. Juve was one of them, but I think they're still beating that drum. They're saying, look at this. We got Inter in the final. We got Fiorentina in the final. And, again, whether I'm drawing a connection here that doesn't exist, I don't know. Again, it's easy to make these leaps when, optically the things that are happening are easy to see and perceive. They're saying Calcio's back, and Juve are pretty much worse off than they ever have been, right? Since in the last 20 years, right? In the last 15 years since Calciopoli. So I don't know. I think the message is clear. They're saying, they're almost rubbing their nuts in it. They're teabagging us now, saying, "Hey, look at this. We're gonna do what we want. You're totally at our mercy, and we're coming out here saying that we're better off than we've ever been."
Yeah, and ironically, the numbers, the ratings disagree with that. That's the funny thing that I always found about it. Because, like, for example, I'm waiting until the numbers come out until FIGC tries to cook the numbers, but. Who watched the Fiorentina Inter Coppa Italia?
I forgot that it was happening.
Nobody knew it existed. Like, unless you're like an Inter fan or a Fiorentina fan, like nobody knew. Here's the funny thing is, if we're playing in Coppa Italia, literally every other club's fan base is watching it just to see us lose in spite. But like when we're not in it, they're like, oh yeah, we're not investing.
You want to know what I think? I've noticed this. I think nobody actually cares about most of that shit. Period. I think the only people that tend to watch it are hardos or people whose teams are in it. I think what you're saying might be true to an extent, maybe. But I mean, is it just your Juventino POV? Like when Juve's in it, you watch it and you think that the world is revolving around it because you're just like taking in information. You're reading tweets about it. You're tweeting about it. The tweet's getting interaction. You're writing to other people about it. You're reading about it. But the only people that are reading about it are people that are interested in it, right? So it creates like this feedback loop where you think, oh yeah, this is all anyone's talking about. Dude, I mean, I think every year. I don't know that Inter fans are intently watching the Coppa Italia final when it's Juve playing against Napoli, which is happening in years past. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. They're kind of petty.
And we're not. You're not gonna watch. You're not gonna watch the Champions League final and pull for Man City. That
I'm gonna watch. That I always watch the UCL final.
I probably won't care enough to watch it, to be honest with you. Like, why would I waste my time watching a 6-0 thumping?
I think I thought 4-5 0 is actually what I was privately thinking to myself yesterday, and I'm not kidding.
5-0, easy.
I did watch the Coppa Italia final. I thought Inter gave up a ton of chances. Fiorentina aren't.
They're not clinical.
No, they're not Man City, but you think that Man City is going to have a much easier time slicing them open.
I
don't think they're going to have a hard time with it at all. But you never know. Pep does overthink everything, and he always wants to put a bow on every single.
If he messes this up, this will probably be the biggest L of his career ever. Like it's just one of those things where it's like, dude, that's like the definition of fumbling the bag. Because when you have a front, like for example, when you have a Cherby versus Holland, like at this point, I'm calling my bookie and I'm betting everything on Holland at this point.
I know, but like part of me wants to, and if it wasn't Inter in the final, I might consider. I don't really gamble anymore, but if I were to, and Inter weren't in the final, I wouldn't, I don't know. I mean, it's impossible to really say. It's a hypothetical here, but I have a feeling that I probably want to bet on whoever City's playing, only for the fact that Pep has blown it many times, and he always seems to try to fucking overcomplicate things and change shit up. He always like messes with the winning formula, and he just wants to like put a cherry on the sundae so that he like signs it off because he's like this football artist. It's really insufferable, actually, in a lot of ways. You know, when he starts what Rahul Sharma, the Inter YouTuber who was on my pod a couple of weeks ago, calls
Nima?
it. No, Rahul Sharma.
Rahul Sharma, Uncle Sharma.
Yeah, Uncle Sharma. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, right. His name's Rahul. So, as he calls it, it's the verbal fellatio. Pep has begun verbally filleting Inter, saying they're a fantastic team. It would be very difficult, you know. Yeah. It's almost patronizing, but it's what he does, you know. KB17 says it is all because of the Super League and Agnelli wanting a bigger part of the pie and UEFA is not having it. Well, yeah, right. That's kind of it. But and again, it's not hard to make these connections when Gabriele Gravina, who's overseeing a failing organization, is promoted to one of the vice presidents of the organization.
Yeah, that still blows my mind.
Well, it shouldn't. It's not that hard to see the writing on the wall. Again, maybe it's a coincidence, but there are a lot of coincidences going on here. And usually when that happens, you know,
it's a lot of indirect evidence.
It's because of, usually when a lot of coincidences can be observed, when that happens, usually it's because, you know, there's something there. Generally, you know, I don't know. You know, are we nuts to say this? That's how QAnon started.
That's how any of that stuff starts.
Right? But like, there's a little bit of truth about QAnon, right? Like, are they all, you know, a little bit? You know, is there a guy?
There's always truth. There's always truth in all that shit.
Is there a guy with Q clearance on 4chan talking about state secrets? Probably not. But is there?
I don't know about that.
You know?
Well, that's the thing. Actually,
but is there weird stuff going on in high levels of you know, political office in the United States? Maybe, right? Kernel truth. So you have to sift through it, right? It's probably not all true that everything we're seeing is a conspiracy against Juve, but there's certainly some kind of agenda that's playing out before us, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, come on, like
there is. Yeah, no. There's. I think we all agree.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've never seen ever in the history of sports a point deduction and then oh yeah, your point deduction doesn't make sense. Take it back, and then we're just gonna take it again.
Like, well, there's a very clear reason as to why that is, though, right? And a lot of people don't understand this because they know that Italy is like a clown show, and they think it's a bureaucratic nightmare full of red tape and weird arbitrary decisions like this. And that is true to an extent, which promulgates this idea that everything going on is just being done at random. It's not quite the case. What's actually happening here, and this is where a lot of people are totally misinformed on this issue, it's not that people are arbitrarily deciding, take them away, put them back, take them away, we're just going to try to fuck with your head. What was initially done was they took it away because of arguably the vendetta. Then Juve appealed it, which they're allowed to do, hence the removal of them, right? Because it was ruled by a court of arbitration, I believe, that it was unclear as to why the 15 points were removed. The exact explanation was unclear. The case was reviewed, and there was a date for it to be reviewed, and the conclusion of that case was that a sporting sanction would be applied, which it was. So my issue is that sporting sanctions are a thing. That's weird to me. I don't like that in Italy you'll arbitrarily see teams get deducted points. Sometimes it will happen mid-season. I think it happened to might have been Reggiana a year or two ago.
It has happened, yes.
Or maybe maybe Regina in Reggio Calabria. I don't know. The two teams have very similar names. One's in Emilia, one's in Calabria. But I believe, again, I don't think I'm pulling this out of my ass. I think it might have happened as recently as even, you know, maybe this year to one of those clubs that points are deducted arbitrarily because of some thing that they did, some nefarious activity. My issue is not waiting until the end of the season. I also think you need to display a certain level of discretion here when you know that there's like another case that's going to be coming, right? So the case that's going to be coming, I think next month, the month of June, is that I'm referring to as the payment deferrals one, right? From the start of COVID, right? Yeah. It's like, okay, this whole thing's a big fucking mess. Why they're pursuing us for it remains unclear. Maybe that's where the vendetta starts, and maybe it can all be explained because of the vendetta. Okay, great, fine. But if you know that this is a thing that's going to be going on, right? Like for a number of, you know, over a number of weeks, however long it's going to take to oversee this case, why not just wait till the season's done and say, let's just handle it at once and get it all done and dusted, decide what an appropriate penalty is and apply it. That would at least make a little bit more sense, but whatever. They're passing through the court system. So hearings happen when they happen. If they're midseason, they're midseason. I think what they should do is they should say, great, we have a decision rendered. We will reveal what that decision is at the end of the season. That makes sense to me. If you have to like go to court on this day in March during the season, fine. Wait until the end of the season and then reveal it. But then, I guess Juve could appeal it and then that process draws out even further. But at least then the season is done. What tends to happen when you start deducting points in the middle of the season is what we witnessed this year, which is a complete clusterfuck of emotion and confusion. The players don't know what's going on. They don't know where they're at in the table. The fans are confused. The club is confused. Management's confused. They have no idea whether or not they're going to be able to, reasonably expect to fall into European money next year or not. Like there's a lot of confusion that arises because of it. So ergo, it is fucked up to do it during the season. It just is because doing so it does make the league look like a clown show, but it's also like it's also kind of unnecessary. Just wait till the end of the year, and then what you could basically do is have an idea of what the result of the league would have been. But it allows for more closure too, and then the point deduction gets assigned. Like, sorry, Dave, but do any of you guys think that Inter won the Scudetto in 2006?
No.
No, nobody cares about.
Okay, why? Why? Think about it. Why?
Because it's all false claims. It should have never been.
Well, no, that's not why you don't respect it. That's part of the reason, but that's not the main reason. You know why you're able to say we won the title? Because at the end of the season, the table was what it was and no fuckery had occurred. Everything happened retroactively, right? So the season's done. We now know how the players played out the season, what the result was, and accordingly, we know what the table says. Then whatever happens after in the courts, it might be officially sanctioned, sealed, whatever. The payment goes to one club versus another. They're deemed champions. That's still why we say, sul campo, Scudetto sul campo, Scudetto on the pitch. It was won on the pitch. Inter won it in the courts. What we're seeing here is, I think, a much more effective way of debilitating a team. Because Juve right now technically are in second place if no point deductions occurred. I know we played like dog shit all year, but hypothetically, if we finished in second place, at least when the season's done, we could say we're a second place team. Now it's going to be weird to say that. I mean, you can add the points on at the end, but it's like, oh, well, what if they just waited? How would the season have played out differently? Psychologically, might it have affected us differently?
But psychologically, you have to look back as well, because they did this just before the Freiburg game, and they did it again on Monday. Yeah. Where, yes, twice now in the middle of the season, they're just mind-fucking everybody. And Empoli, 4-1 loss. At that point, that late into the season now, when you have 10 points off, you're sitting in 7th place. Like, what? Guys, you get Rabiot, who knows, okay, if you don't get Champions League, which now I know we won't before this game, he's checked out. Paredes, whatever. All these guys that know their contract's up, that they're finished, they all check out.
But you got to look at it from a league perspective as well, because, like, for example, even Mourinho said it. He's like, dude, if I knew it was this was the case, I would have prepped differently instead of just putting all my eggs in the Europa League basket.
Yeah,
and it's like you hear it from Sadi as well. He's like, well, because the thing is like when you're say that, like, for example, you're like Milan, where like I put all my eggs in my basket for the Champions League, but whatever, it didn't work, and then now you're like a few points behind, and then the point shifts and the table shifts, and you're like, wait a minute, what the hell? Because, like, for example, hypothetically, say that we're 70, and then like the 4th place team or the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place team are all within 65 or at 65 even. You take us out of there, that completely shifts the entire table from a bunch of like spots, and it's like, wait a minute, hold the phone here, and it's like it's an absolute mess, and it's like strategically looking at it, you can't, from another club's perspective, you can't, and then it's like. It's terrible.
You want to know what my opinion is too? Sorry.
Go ahead. No. Finish your thought.
No. You finish yours.
I pretty much had it. You're good, dude. Just run with it.
Sorry. Man, to me, I think this all reeks of them not trying to actually create an outcome where like the integrity of the league is preserved. Let me explain. I think the reasoning here, and again, this is feeding back into my theory that this is all just a vendetta that we're seeing play out. I think the goal here is to punish us, Juve, as severely as possible, right where we'll feel it. So they could fine us. Fines have been levied before against clubs for breaking rules. I think Man City have had to pay fines, haven't they? Have Chelsea? I don't know.
Yeah, they all have.
I know City has an ongoing case too.
Chelsea had a
which
transfer ban.
is a whole other.
And that's the thing. Like Man City is currently going through one right now, and they're playing in the Champions League final. Have won the league.
That whole thing's farcical. It's that whole thing's farcical. It's really hard to. I mean, look again. Like my fucked up brain kind of likes it. Like I like when I see cheating and stuff, and I'm like, this is funny. It's hilarious. But like objectively, it is fucked up that they're allowed to play in the Champions League final. They probably will beat Inter, and then Inter might, reasonably. Like we live in a world right now where Man City could win the Champions League. They could win the Champions League title. They could. I don't think this will happen because I think they're too in the good graces of UEFA for this to actually happen. You have to get out of their good graces like Juve did through Agnelli's behavior. But hypothetically, there's probably a precedent that could be set, if not followed. I don't know what precedent exists. This might be the first time we see anything like this. But technically, like the rules are written such that they've probably broken sufficient rules that they could retroactively remove them from the competition or just strip them of the title, right? We live in a world where Inter could win the Champions League title by default, the same way that they won 2 fucking Scudetti 15 years ago.
It's possible.
How insane is that? Do you think Interisti would like it? Now, honestly, look,
Yeah, they would.
A lot of them, a lot of them. Listen, if you're
4 stars.
Come on, man. No one really wants to win that way. It's easy to say. It's fun to say. Oh, it's you guys are used to it. I get it, right? It's like it's a great way to trash talk, but I don't know. I don't know that they actually want to win it that way. But the fact that there are any people at all, even just one, that there's one Interista that's like, fuck it, I'm celebrating this as if we actually won it. The fact that that is a real thing. There's definitely at least one Inter fan out there that will be, happy with the loss if it means that they win in the court because a win is a win. I mean, that's funny to me. But look, the point I wanted to make was, I think they're not trying to honor sporting integrity here. They're not trying to honor the integrity of the league. That much is clear. The goal here, because this is a fucking vendetta, is they want to punish you by whatever means necessary. So again, they could levy a fine. That doesn't get you where it hurts. You take points away, it's priceless in a lot of ways. I know it's, maybe that's, I don't mean to speak in total hyperbole here, but it kind of is priceless. Because you don't know what the long-term effects of that are going to be. Players leave. Your books are all fucked up. You have less revenue this year. You have to balance out for FFP purposes if you want to re-enter UEFA competition in a year or two. You have to balance out through FFP over like a period of, I think it's 3 years. So now you have less income this 1 year. So it affects your total income over the 3-year period. You have to balance accordingly. It's just, again, it's not that you don't have money. You have to you can't just create money out of thin air. That's what Man City have done, right? You can't just create money out of thin air through sponsors. The Agnellis have money. They have capital. Okay, they can inject cash into the club. That's what that's what's happening at Newcastle. I don't know how it's going to affect them adversely. I think it probably never will for the same reason it never has with City. But you have to fucking follow some rules. You have to follow rules, especially if the vendetta is never ending. If Chefedin is still around and he says, what if he's psychotic, just to become the president of any organization that's that big, you have to be a little bit of a sociopath. What if he says, as long as I'm around, Juve will never see the competition again if I could help it. Fuck him. I don't care that Agnelli stepped down. I don't care that the whole board stepped down. It's not enough. I will fucking bury them. They might do it again. You have to give them absolutely not even a solitary inch. You cannot give them anything, right? So you have to follow the rules. You have less income. You have less to play around with. Your books are harder to balance. It's just the long-term effects of not making Champions League football or even any European football at all are very difficult to probably quantify. And if you really wanted sporting integrity to be honored here, deduct the points retroactively for the seasons when the infractions occurred. And if you did that, fine. Strip us of the title. Strip us of the title if it's in 2020. Do you and I really care? Okay, another club gets it in the history books, but there's like an asterisk there that it was, assigned in the courts. You take it happily. You say whatever. You brush off your shoulder and say, we still won it. But you know why I think they're not doing it that way retroactively is because I think we haven't won a title for like 3 years now, and I think the infractions in question might have happened in years that we didn't win the title. So there's nothing to strip us of. You can't retroactively remove us from the Champions League. You could reduce, you could take points away, but it means fuck all unless there's a real ramification that you feel right now. So one of your trophies has to get returned, or you get pulled out of Champions League football next season. So that's all this is. I think they're trying to hurt us as best they can now.
Absolutely.
That's what I think.
Well, yeah, it's a ploy where it's like we need to hurt these guys to the point where they're not in Serie B because we lose money if these guys are out of the league, but then we also need to make sure that they aren't competing for anything as well. It's at this point, like there's not really much that they needed to do. Even if we were in Champions League, we still wouldn't have been able to rebuild the squad next season. I highly doubt it. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, sorry, because Gonpachiro, am I saying that right yet?
Gonpachiro.
All right, Japanese anime nerds. Anyways, so we found out again today, and there was another press release by was it A1 Sports, the whole Super League thing, but Elkin is allegedly saying no, the Super League is still a thing. So there's a power play happening here at some level. So he's asking here, so why won't Agnelli Elkin save us by kneeling to Cheflin? Isn't it a simple solution? Clearly, there's more to this that we just don't understand. Like these are very powerful people.
Agnelli stepped down. I think.
Yeah, it's more Elkin.
Yeah,
hey,
Sam, he's the guy at the helm now. But Agnelli did step down. I wonder if that was a sign of like, okay, like, sorry, Dash. But at the time, I thought maybe it was to protect themselves legally, yeah, or to protect the club legally, right? So that the individuals would be persecuted, right? Mm-hmm. And the individuals would be ex-management as opposed to current incumbent management, which looks worse. Now I think it might have been. Again, I don't really know. It's all happened behind closed doors, but I wonder if maybe Agnelli did step down as a way to kind of like show goodwill, but I don't know. Who the fuck knows?
So my question to you, Sam, is how much do you know about Chefrin's allegedly fabricated resume?
Not much.
Yeah, that was.
Is he like a George Santo type of thing?
Kind of, because like the thing is like what's ironic is because to be president of UEFA, you need to be president of a federation, and allegedly Slovenia's like he wasn't the president of Slovenia's football federation. So allegedly Chefrin got in without the proper requirements.
How does that happen without? Again, you almost go to applaud. George Santo became a congressman. He was a cross-dresser in Brazil like 10 years ago. He's now a congressman. He scammed a lot of people in Long Island. You almost have to applaud that.
Is that what he did? I've heard all the
something like
noise,
that,
but that's pretty wild.
How does it take a bunch of angry Juve fans who are mad that the guy is coming after their club to uncover this? How are we finding this out years later? I believe you, Dash. I didn't know about it. How does that happen? How does that happen?
But now that people know about it, it's like, oh, whatever. He's been doing the job for a few years. You can keep on doing it.
No, you got to appeal that in the court if you can. I don't know.
Yeah,
how could you appeal that?
You can't.
What can you rat him out? I mean, can someone sue him? Can you lobby maybe to get him kicked out? I think the problem is you guys are right to call this a power play, because I think what you have here is a clear message being sent to other clubs in Europe that they are not to align with the Super League, because look what happens if you do. But Juve then it's a political play, really. Mm-hmm. Juve could appeal to a lot of the other clubs that might be interested in this sort of thing and say, let's get this cocksucker out of here. He's a piece of shit. He's impeding our plans. And we have a case to make that he's unqualified for the job and should be removed immediately. All we have to do is lobby collectively, make a case. But then if you do that, then you're all on the blacklist. So I think what UEFA is doing here is saying, hey, look what happens if you go on the blacklist. We will make bad things happen to you.
But I've questioned this as well. You look at Real, you look at Barcelona. They're still the Super League trident, if you will. Barca's there doing whatever the hell they please as well with their money. Nobody seems to give a fuck. It's all directed towards Juve. So I don't know what happened specifically with Chefrin and the powers at Juve, but there is like a very directed hate.
Why does it feel like Agnelli stole Chefrin's girl and Chefrin's just been holding a grudge ever since high school?
Yes. I mean,
he almost did, metaphorically. Number of his clubs, he swooped in and said, "Hey, follow me, abandon this guy. I will show you riches and get a divorce. Get a divorce from this man. He does not have your best interest in heart, in mind at heart, whatever the fuck." Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much what he did, metaphorically. Dash, you're asking why is he acting that way? It's because it's precisely what happened. He's just making a playback. I think the way you really get Juve back is by sending them down to Serie B. That's what I think. I think the point deferral. Sorry, I think the point. Yeah. The payment deferral, the point deductions that'll result from the payment deferral case is going to be ugly because it's a criminal case, and it seems like arbitrary numbers are being pulled out of prosecutors' asses. They're recommending that it's 11 points for the.
It was 6, then it was 9, then it's 11.
What did we just get 10 points deducted
10
for
points.
again? What are they referring to the case?
Capital gains.
Capital gains. Yes. Thank you. The capital gains case. Right. So in the case of the capital gains case, the prosecutor, I think, recommended that 11 points get removed. Why 11? Why not 12? Why not 9? Who knows? You pull a number out of your ass. I don't know that there's a precedent that's set. 15 was too harsh. 11 is okay. What? So again, if a prosecutor is able to recommend a point penalty, I think it's going to be just enough to get us down to Serie B. How many points right now separate us from relegation? That's the number of points that is going to get recommended.
30-ish.
30, great. 35 points. That's what they recommend. 35 points. Watch. That's what I think.
For the salary maneuver?
What's up?
For the salary maneuver, you're recommending? They're saying they're going to recommend?
I believe I'm pulling a number out of my ass. I'm giving a hypothesis that I think it'll be whatever's recommended. I think is going to be enough to get us relegated. I think that's the point because I think they're going to try to crush our head as best they can. And Gravina doesn't care because he's enriched himself. And unfortunately, human beings do that. It's not surprising, but you have to, you need safeguards against that sort of shit because people are corruptible. You need. I get that this is a soccer, which is like football is like the least important of the important things, as I think someone said. I don't remember who it was. It was some British guy. I don't know. Might have been Mourinho. I don't know. Some manager. It might have been Ancelotti. It was Ancelotti, I think. In any event, I know it's weird to talk about football in this matter, but like it is, to the people that are involved, it's a very serious matter. And yeah, you need to have. You have millions of people that care about these fucking clubs. There's a lot of money involved, and you want there to be a certain level of integrity there, right? So you want the president of a federation to not be able to do shit like he's done. He's obviously been able to, he's been bought off, right?
And
he got a raise. He got promoted. Who knows if he got paid shit under the table too? But he got a raise. He's in a more prestigious position right now. He could leave, as the Italian Football Federation president, and he still has another job in football. A high-ranking one.
And the irony,
and Italy have failed to qualify for 2 World Cups in a row.
I was going to say, Italy's failed to qualify in World Cups, and our
they
talent pipeline is absolute garbage right now.
But again, this is another reason why perhaps we're going all in with the Super League thing is because they at least, Elkin and his crew, understand how corrupt the whole organization from FIFA, UEFA down to the leagues. It's probably cancerous throughout. And he's just like, screw it. I mean, if they bring us down to Serie B or just continue to bend us over, then yeah, I have enough power as Elkin, because I mean, he is a pretty powerful dude. Why can't he start a new league? Legally, he's already told he could.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think the point is that if you want to align yourself with Allegri in the new league, then Agnelli in the new league, then beware the wrath of UEFA. Because again, what was now suggested, or what was most recently suggested, was that the Super League not be a breakaway thing, but rather something that occurs concurrently, I think, with the UEFA competitions, But UEFA won't allow it anyways. Right. I don't know if they're allowed to come over the top and disallow it, but again, I don't know what sporting precedent there is, or what precedent there is. And a sporting court of arbitration would have to overlook that. I think in Switzerland, I think that's what was discussed a number of months ago, if my memory serves me correctly. But the point is that, I mean, yeah, you could still join the league, but I think the point is, given that the Super League itself is no longer meant to be a breakaway thing, the clubs that would hypothetically take part from the beginning, and then every club that gets promoted in and relegated out and is part of the system and is vying for a spot in the Super League, I think they would still want to be part of the UEFA infrastructure.
They wanted to,
therefore it's unlikely that they will try to upset UEFA too much. That's my point. Again, maybe they will, but there's a power play.
But it basically came out that saying they will not coexist. Yeah. UEFA won't allow it, and legally, I think
I believe
3 months ago,
But
maybe.
the thing is that's why UEFA's doing hey, we switched models for the Champions League format. We have this big group block.
Yes, and that's the same time A21 came out.
Yeah, because like now UEFA's trying to do that where it's like, hey, look, this is kind of Super League-ish, and we even Americanized it by doing a big blob table with games and playoffs, and it's like
Swiss model.
It's a Swiss model. It's just another way to cope, and it's ridiculous, man. And
And
then
we
you
got to
have,
answer this here.
Two Canucks and one Yank.
Yeah,
And
but the Yank is from north enough that he might sound 822. Thanks, Misak. I knew I didn't have the right number. 822.
Yeah. And then Yusuf is saying Sheffrin. No, so it was Agnelli that was the Sheffrin's daughter's godchild, I believe.
Yeah.
So I guess
Yeah, but someone did backstab someone. It was reminiscent of The Godfather.
It is, ironically. But
but again, like this is family politics, and you're taking this to the top level of like the biggest what do you call it, sporting organization essentially in the world. I don't know if the NFL is bigger, but basically it's its own government.
Yeah, it's like ironically Sheffrin's like Darth Vader, and then like Agnelli's like Obi-Wan Kenobi here. That's pretty much what happened.
The whole empire is hanging in the balance of a personal feud.
Yeah, Sheffrin looks at Agnelli. He's like, "You're supposed to destroy free and fun-flowing football, not join it."
You know, one takeaway here is
billionaires and small cocks. That's it.
One takeaway here is that baptisms really don't mean much anymore. People don't care about baptisms.
They're so useless. I'm a godfather for my
just be part of the club.
Kid,
just join the club. I guess we'll do it. I don't know. Sure, we may as well.
Well, especially
if we don't baptize him, what are we going to baptize him when he's 12? Like, we may as well just make the decision now. It doesn't hurt, you know?
It's just an excuse for, I see it a lot more so in the city, probably you in Montreal. I see it in Toronto, where it's the big show. And I know you've talked about it with those guys from Toronto with the whole, was it the bachelor party and all that thing?
Parties,
yes. Yeah, it's not just stags. It's everything. It's the confirmations, the communions, every little thing. It's just like, let's just throw thousands of dollars at it because, well, just like your last episode there, you got to have the Gucci bag to show off.
Right. Sure. Maybe yeah. It's an excuse to dress up. The ladies like that too. I think you just kind of have to. It's almost like we're just grandfathered into this, system of like, you won't just get your first communion and go home. Everyone who makes their first communion then celebrates it. You don't have to, you know. We make of it a big thing. It's like, why?
Yeah,
well, because when I was growing up, every communion was a big deal. Well, I guess every communion's got to be a big deal. We got to throw a party for my kid, you know. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd say this, man. I'd say, what it is good for is it allows you to cement bonds with other people, and I think you could say it also allows for like an environment where like betrayal could occur. Does that make sense? Like you could use a baptism as like a mechanism to bring someone into your family. Oh, you're the god. This is my kid's godfather. You know, you might do it for like a strategic purpose. You know, like if you have like a cool cousin who's like really rich. Hey, you want to be like my kid's godfather? You want to christen my kid? And then you're a little closer to that person. It's a strategic play. But then also it could lead to like some grave act of betrayal, right? And some grave drama. That's so, yeah. Someone's asking, Chow Sam, where are you from? From the streets, bro.
Oh, fuck off. You live in such like an upper middle class white neighborhood.
I'm still trying to figure out if Dave's sister lives right behind me. There's a house on the street behind me. I've never seen them, but I hear I hear I hear this guy. I know the guy by voice, but I've never seen his face. There's like this nerd. How many kids does your sister have, Dave? We got
it's a teenage girl, 8-year-old boy, a dog, a mastiff.
How old's a teenage girl? A question which you never want to ask live in public, but no, but
I think 14.
She like 13. 14.
They're half Asian,
like
half Italian.
So they're like a young family.
They're Asian Italians. I don't know.
Does your brother-in-law sound like a big nerd? There's this guy who lives behind me who trips out. They have a dog. He's like, buddy, what are you doing? He's got a
PhD in pharmacology. He's quite the nerd.
The guy's always spazzing out on his kids. They might live behind me, dude.
That would be funny. I don't know.
Privately, do you know the street they live on? Can you privately?
Yeah, I told you.
Can you remind me of what the street name is? Can you privately send it?
Okay. Yeah.
Is it? Jesus.
And there's a couple of Canada Deeces here.
That was not what I typed in there.
Is it what I typed or is it what you typed? You said
that was that. Okay, no, I just didn't type in. Sorry about that. And
what I wrote is very close to what you typed, but you're saying there's a type. I know this is tough. This is tough viewing right now for people. We got a private exclusive chat that we're
it's on this side. And sorry, I want to go back.
So just to confirm, so she doesn't live behind me.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I think we went through that, but close enough.
He's not the nerd. He's not the nerd.
And Colin Wynn, what up from Ottawa? So you kind of live between me and Sam.
Coming to Ottawa in 2 weeks, dude. I like
are you
there, man? I like going there. Yeah, just like last time, just for a show. I didn't realize you were so far out.
I'm going for a colonoscopy in a couple weeks, so maybe I'll.
Oh, delightful.
Hey, yo.
You want?
Gotta go to Ottawa for the old.
Hell no.
I mean, yeah. What the fuck? You want me to? I went drinking on Saturday at a wedding, and they had the post alcohol shits on Sunday. I think I got a hemorrhoid now. You want to know about that too? Like, what are we doing over here? The fuck? No, the 14th, June 14th. Next month. I'm looking forward to going in the summer. You know, it's people do go out. I feel like people go out to more comedy shows in the summer. It could be, just because I don't know. People do the thing I've noticed about the clubs in Ottawa is people will go out all the time because there's not a whole hell of a lot to do there, and like in the winter it's so bleak that it's something to do. But I guess in the summer people are also like, we may as well go out. It's nice out, It's kind of like there's
people go out in Canada
only for 3 months of the year.
I was gonna say it's not. Don't you guys have like 9 months of like pure darkness?
Oh yeah. Which would be my concern, actually, that people would take advantage of the fact that it stays light out later and it's warm, so they might do outside stuff instead of sitting in a comedy club. But I know in Montreal, comedy is quite big in the summer, but it's also because a lot of people come to Montreal in the summer and nobody goes to Ottawa.
Well, there's the big festival in the summer,
right?
In Montreal. Yeah.
Samba, you've seen the Canadian F1 race before in Montreal, dude? I've never seen it. I don't even know if I've watched it on television. I cannot get my dick up for F1. I find it so weird to pull for a company.
That's what she said.
No, you don't have to pull for a company. I just got into it last year. I plan on going to the Montreal Grand Prix if I can. My buddy's going this year.
Like I think I've never got into the sport on a technical level, so it's hard for me to watch because I'm not a fan.
Yes.
So does that make sense?
Yeah, no, because it's a very technical sport, and I like it because like I fix helicopters for a living, right? So like F1, that's there's a lot of parallels for me, right? So I get into it because like the technology
the engineering is half of the whole sport from what I've been.
It really is, yeah, in a sense.
And so do the rules change every year so that every team has to like remake cars according to the new specs and accordingly they can innovate? Is that how it works? Because that was what it was sort of that's how it was sort of explained to me by someone who was trying to sell it to me, and I was like, yeah, I'm not in. Like, I like tennis, I like MMA, I like golf. I've done all of those things. I enjoy them from a technical point of view, having done them all, tried them all. I think it's you can appreciate how hard they are. So I like to watch them, but I don't like. There are some fighters in MMA that I will get a little bit more excited for, but it's hard for me to kind of like understand people who are like a Nadal fan to the point.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a guy who's watching every one of Rafa Nadal's tennis matches. They exist. I'm sure there are people out there, but
for sure.
That's weird. But that's
usually chicks that do that.
Maybe. Yeah, that makes sense. Or like, guys who love like who are like in love.
They
with,
they love his
Sharapova.
Well, yeah, but I mean, as far as Rafa, they like his two finger grip.
Well, man. Yeah, he's got that fucking Manuel Ferrara gene in him, bro.
I'm telling you, dude.
He looks like it too. Same build.
Build, forearm build too.
I would say, you know what I'm talking about. Exactly, Dash. Yeah, the forearms. Right, exactly.
That's what it is, man. It's
dude, because Rafa Nadal's like always picking his ass and shit. So
Yeah.
he gets down and dirty. He's not afraid to stick his tongue up a chick's ass
I'm
either,
telling
right?
you, he's doing a doggy while fingering his own ass. I mean,
Especially
it wouldn't surprise me.
yeah, in like 10 years too, 10 years post retirement, because he's gonna retire in like a year. You'll see him blowing up a little bit. You'll see him being like a bit of a gordito, kind of like Higuain, eating jamon, having like being sort of dad fit, having a bit of a pop, but still just going. I could see it, but I would say, yeah, man. I've seen tennis matches unfold in like a major, for example, like a Grand Slam tournament final, right, where like Djokovic is playing Nadal, and there are people in the stands who are getting up and fist pumping when Nadal prolongs a game for one extra set. It's like that wouldn't be my reaction. I would get up out of my seat and go, oh, but I wouldn't fist pump unless I gambled, on it. Which I don't do anymore. I don't gamble anymore because I don't, because I tried. I don't know if I ever told you guys this. I don't know if I've ever talked about this on the pod, but this pod. But at one point last year, I thought maybe I'll try, like, how hard could it be? Like, I'll try being a handicapper. Like, I'll try it out. And if I make money with it, then maybe that could be like a side hustle. It'd be like I thought maybe it would be a side quest, or maybe it would be like just a perennial side hustle. I don't know, that I would never quite stop. So I started off with like $150, and I turned that into I think I turned it into like $2,000 after like not very long. I turned it into like $1,000 after a week, which turned into 2,000 after like 10 days. And I think I was able to somehow parlay all that into like $7,000 after like 2 weeks. And I was like, yo, I'm killing it. I made $5,000 last week. If I can make $5,000 a week, I'm in the top 1%. I'm in like the top 1% of the top 1%, I'm killing it. Also, it's tax exempt, I think, in certain jurisdictions. I think in Canada it is, or maybe in the US it is. I think in Canada it's not, but I'm thinking of all these loopholes that I'm going to be able to take advantage of. I'm a European citizen. Maybe I'll open an offshore account. And then I was like, well, I got to replicate that, right? I got to replicate the performance. So I went all in, and I got too aggressive, and I started gambling on Indonesian third division soccer. And my theory about that is when you place a bet, a referee has like a buzzer on his waist or something, or like a headpiece in his ear, an earpiece, and they go, we got one, and the referee just gives a penalty right away, and he keeps like shifting the results live in real time, because there's no way to actually watch this unfold. Like third division soccer in Canada is bleak. I played fourth division soccer in Canada. Third division's like very bleak, and that's in Canada, a first world country. So you can just imagine like an Indonesian island, what the fuck's going on. So I lost like $2,000 that week, and I was like, I got to stop. And then during the NFL playoffs last year, I was like, fuck it, I'm going on another heater. I'm going to try it out. And I think that one weekend, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers almost came back down from, I think they were down like a crazy amount. I bet on Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. I forget who they were playing. It was like the conference final. It might have been the Bengals, or it was the Rams. I think it was the Rams. So Tom Brady fucking comes all the way back, and they're about to win the game with like seconds left, and then the Rams, I think, win it in overtime or something. I lost that one, so I was like, fuck it, I'm going all in with what I have left. I then bet on the Buffalo Bills, who, if you guys recall, I don't know if you guys are big football fans, but they played out one of the craziest games ever against the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think the team that was in the lead flipped back and forth like 4 times in the last minute, and ultimately it wound up getting sent to overtime in the last second. KC won the coin toss and scored. Buffalo couldn't reply because the rules in the NFL were very fucked up. They changed it the following year, but I lost money and was like, I'm done. I can never recover from this. So I haven't gambled in a year.
It's
so
good.
I'm done
I was
gambling.
like that too. Yeah. You lose some money, and I was just like, no,
I'm done.
Yeah.
But if I were to gamble on like Nadal, then I would fist pump. But I don't get people that are like super into like a person. I'm a Max Verstappen fan. It doesn't make sense. Like if you're a Juve fan, there are a legion of fans that are supporting a team that feels like it makes more sense to me. You're supporting colors, but to support like people say they're a Verstappen fan, but really they're a Ferrari fan, right? And he races. Sorry, they're a Red Bull fan,
Red Bull,
right?
Yeah.
Whatever. I find that weird. You're a Lewis Hamilton fan. You watch him for years, and then he just switches teams, and now you got to say, "Oh, fuck him. I don't like Renault. I'm a Mercedes guy." What?
Well, you can go either way. Yeah, it's weird. Like I'm a Ferrari fan because Elkann is the boss of both, and it's the whole Italian connection. Sure, it makes sense. But like right now, I'm turning into a bit of an Aston Martin fan because it's owned by a Canadian guy, Lawrence Stroll. Like it's
right,
mostly owned by Canadians, and Fernando Alonso is this 41-year-old just tearing it up right now, right? So you can get attracted to a team And it's not just a manufacturer, a company. Like there's thousands of people that work for these teams as well, right? So it's still, I mean, like the pit crew, what the pit crew does, right? You think of it a lot that it's just
It's challenging. It's impressive, but like
it's
I'd almost watch it and kind of just watch it to watch it, see how it plays out. That's how I watch MMA usually. Like there are a lot of times I'll watch two guys who I don't know who are fighting on an undercard, and I'm like, all right, let's see how this plays out. Ooh, interesting. That just happened.
Just don't watch it this weekend. It's Monaco, and it's the worst race of the season. So
really, it's the most vibey one though. That's the one that everyone always posts about when they're like, look how life was in the 90s in Europe, and it's just Schumacher fucking racing around some seaside port with like a Marlboro ad.
It's all nostalgia.
Like ladies tanning.
Yeah, it's super nostalgic. It's a party, but as a race,
I'm not gonna lie though, I'm kind of excited to see because this guy makes some hilarious content. But like Dan, I think his name is Dan Bennett. Like he'll like sit there and be like, "Roll on weekend sorted." Like he's like, you go out to Monaco, you get yourself a couple of birds, turn on the UAV, crack open some Stella Artois, you pull yourself a 40-year-old MILF at the airport, then you take it in. It's hilarious. It's like it's just some of the most outlandish things. But he's just like, "Roll on summer sorted," and I'm just like, bruh.
All right, let's roll back into some footy, I suppose, because I know we'll lose a little bit, even though there are some F1 fans. I think does Misak mean by?
Oh no, he was making it as a joke, Jeopardy joke. What is monetization?
Yes.
But hey, look, I have the disclaimer. Look, if you look at the top, right over here where my finger is, we have it. TVMA, language, sexual stuff, and violence. So yeah, hey, we warned you guys.
KB, what? Just because I said I was interested in another F1 team, you think I'm just going to automatically turn to like, fuck you. No, I'm
not. So I think we got to answer the main question. That's because we talked about the point deduction. I think we need to talk because everyone's going nuts on Twitter. You have everybody from every scrounge of Twitter talking about coaching. Pirlo apparently just left Turkey.
He's fired
now. Yeah, well, the Pirlo stands are like, no, he just left. But
we got fired.
The thing is like, I think we got to talk about the coaching carousel because I think that's like the thing is like, I think we'll end on that is, what do you guys think about the managerial position? I still think that we need to sort out our board because our board's an absolute dumpster fire because we don't even have a sporting director and we're out.
Board. You want to sort out the board. That'll change it. I don't know. I mean,
the sporting director. You need the upper management in place to make the decisions.
Because it's like, okay, great, you bring in Tudor, and then it's like, what if Giuntoli's like, the fuck? Man. I don't want this guy.
Oh man. So we're like 4 levels back here. We need the sporting director to decide who's going to be the next manager. We need a board to be elected promptly or appointed,
the board not necessarily,
so that they can then appoint the sporting director. Is that where we're at? I didn't even know about that.
It's like, allegedly, because like our board's not even finalized. We don't even have a sporting director because Giuntoli hasn't even freed himself from Napoli. Like, don't let the DiMarzio. Yeah, he's got an agreement from Juve. Di Laurentiis,
but he's not leaving until the end of the season. That's 2 weeks away.
Yeah, so we gotta wait. Happening. Yeah, so we gotta wait until he gets released there because the thing is like, I see everybody like losing their freaking mind. It's like Juve have contacted Tudor, and it's like, okay,
why? Who even is that? Like, I know who he is. I know who Igor Tudor is, but like, who has he coached?
He's at Marseille right now.
Is he at Marseille now?
Yeah.
Since when?
Since this season.
Yeah.
All season? Is it his first coaching job?
He had Udinese after us. He went to Udinese, filled in, and then left Udinese and went to Marseille.
Right. He was at Udinese last year. This is okay.
No, was it Udinese or Hellas Verona? One of the two.
No, it was Hellas Verona. Hellas Verona
sounds better.
Wasn't Hellas Verona?
It was Verona.
What the fuck was right after coach's name?
Yeah, Verona. See, Misaka saying Verona. Yeah, because what's his face? Juric went to Torino.
Juric there.
Juric went to Torino, and then Tudor took over Juric, and then went over to Marseille.
Okay, so Tudor's been managing for a long time. I didn't even know. So he's been a PAOK. Because I've been hearing, rumors that he would, at some point take over at Juve for what? Like a year or two now. He's always been like the de facto name that you'd hear when people start talking about like whoever the caretaker is going to be. I didn't even realize that he was actually managing. I swear to God, I didn't even realize.
Yeah, well,
and he was at right. He was right. Was he not Pirlo's assistant?
Yeah. He was like the actual head coach, but
Pirlo was like the
joke. That was the joke. Like that is actually like the story behind it. Is like the first half of the season, like Tudor was actually like calling plays and doing everything, and Pirlo was just the figurehead. And then like our performances were decent. They weren't bad, but they were decent. And then like Tudor left after January, and then we just nosedived.
I seriously didn't know that he was established so coach as he is. I really just
He's-
thought he.
you
And
know,
I forgot, and it required me to look him up right now to recall that he was the
So,
assistant.
I'll write up. I'll throw up some of the candidates out there right now. So obviously Tudor's the hot one right now. Ironically, Pirlo's being pressed as a candidate. To
No,
potentially
that's not a
return.
legit name.
And no, it's not a legit name, but it's
No.
out there. Don't shoot the messenger, Dave.
Italiano, I heard, is the bottom of the list at number 5.
Which is interesting because Italiano's at the bottom of the list, and then Conte is on the list.
No, that's no.
You know who
I don't believe
you know
that
who
one
shouldn't
either.
you know who shouldn't and won't come. You know who shouldn't and won't come is Dead Zerbi. He shouldn't and he won't. There's no
I
point.
don't think he will.
He's
His
gonna
release
see-
clause is expensive.
I think he's going to see out what he started. I don't even know if he wants to come to Juve right now. You understand that when you leave Italy and you're having success elsewhere as a manager, particularly if it's in England, there's a chance you're never coming back. You could just be like the next big thing. I know Conte's come back. He went back and forth. I know. I mean, fine, but I don't know. I don't know. I just think that when you kind of have a taste of the Premier League, you I was just looking something up. What's so funny was, did someone comment something that was funny?
Yeah. Someone's like, Dash got his news from BZ because I was just throwing off random names.
Oh,
That's
okay.
funny.
I think
They're another.
I think that Zerbi is not. No, wait, hang on. Who's BZ? What's BZ?
Dale Canary Zone.
What's up? Oh,
It's
okay.
another
Another
channel
one.
that.
We refer to them as BZ. Okay. Yeah,
Well,
see
I
them
mean
on
that's
Twitter.
yeah.
All
Well,
right,
we both hosted there at one point before.
Yeah,
we
that's
started.
where
right.
that's where Dave and I met.
Okay. Oh, all right. A little gossip in the niche of English speaking Juve.
Yeah,
Ironic.
the
YouTube
four
channels.
channel niche. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know. What was I saying? I think that Zerbi probably just doesn't want to come back to Italy right now. Why would he want to take over Juve now when things are going so well for him at Brighton? Think about it.
Yeah.
Like
He wouldn't.
he's gotten European football. The team's playing pretty
Yeah.
well. He's being lauded as like the next Pep. I think he might just say, you know what, I'll hang out for a little while and then I'll see what happens if I can stick around. I might get a better paying big job in England. I might take
Yeah,
over
I was
that
gonna say
at
because
Man United or Man City.
Liverpool. They're saying
Liverpool, sure,
after, what's his face, Klopp leaves at Liverpool. But I think the biggest question mark for me for De Zerbi is how he handles European football. The dude's never coached a European match. Like he's never as long as he's been
Shakhtar, maybe, I don't know, pre-war.
pre-war.
maybe.
Yeah, no, but did he? Because I know they did
Maybe.
terrible when he was there. Like if they were in Europe, because there's that one season that they were just terrible. I think he was the coach for them that season. I think they only got like 2 points in the Champions League.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
But the thing is, it's
he probably didn't have a great side to work with. Maybe the war, excuse me, I just burped. The war was probably the best thing that could happen to him.
I know, but like
got
the
the fuck
irony,
out of there.
the irony of it is like in my opinion, yeah, Misaka's saying he's ass, but the thing that I kind of find ironic is like Italiano has proven more on a European stage than De Zerbi has, because like he took a defense like Fiorentina's defense is a freaking joke. Like let's be honest here, and he took those guys to the Conference League final. So I'm a little bit surprised. I think Italiano's probably going to be the next replacement for Spalletti because Spalletti's out of Napoli. I think that's pretty much all but confirmed.
By the way, that's a bad look on Napoli, but it's not a real surprise. But it takes you 30 years to win a fucking title. The coach leaves and he's like, you know what, I can't follow this up. I'm out.
Coach
You think
and
those-
sporting director.
You think those guys are going to repeat? No, it's like the pinnacle of what they could achieve. You know what I mean?
Apparently,
Imagine if you won a title at Juve and you left that same year. The only guy. To be fair, Conte kind of did that after what 2, which was
3, I think.
3.
That's Conte though.
That's Conte.
He's like, hey, they give me
That is
50 euros. I want 100. Fuck these guys. I'm out.
It's a very Conte move. Conte does leave when he
Cunte.
wants,
We
and
call him Cunte. Very Cunte move.
but again, like the expectation is like that you're going to stay around forever as long as you're winning. I don't know.
So
It's
let
just-
me ask you this, Sam. So Giuntoli might actually bring Spalletti with him to Juve. Would you be okay with that?
No, Spalletti can't because he's got a clause. Can't do it for a
clause?
year. He can't go to a major competitor for a year.
Oh, that's interesting. Typical De Laurentiis thing.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, can you imagine what a world?
That'd be
What a
funny.
world.
because
What a
that's
wo-
actually an F1 rule. Like the engineers and aerodynamicists and like all that shit, they have to not be in like working for a year before they can go to another team.
What kind of world are you living in, man? If you're worried about where your coach goes to next, I'm not gonna. I hope he doesn't go to Napoli. Do you think there's ever a Juve sporting director that might ever have that thought even cross his mind? Honest to God, like whatever. Again,
the funny thing is, it's
it's
like
kinda-
Milan and Inter don't have those compete clauses with each other.
no,
Like that's the funny
Yeah.
thing about it, is like they don't give a shit. They're like, oh, hey, whatever.
don't go to one of the big boys. Napoli says it's a little weird. Whatever. Anyway, do I even want Spalletti? I don't know. I don't care. He's never done a lot to impress me. I know he had a good team this year. I think that's all Giuntoli. I think he scouted well. So they sold their whole fucking team and they brought in a whole team that was even better.
Like getting Kvaratskhelia, like where did that come from? That was like the coup de grace right there. Getting that.
I wouldn't be interested in Spalletti anyway. Not any more than any other guys. I mean,
There's not really anything out there as far as coaching options go.
It's not too much.
I mean,
I don't here. You know what? Here's what I can confidently say. I have very little confidence in our ability to make the optimal decision. How about that? I think come August, September, I don't think we're going to be I don't think we're going to have like analyzed the situation, analyzed where we're at, and said, okay, here's where we need to now go. What do we want to do? How do we get there? What do we have to do to achieve that? I don't think that's happening at all. I think we're making another shot in the dark type decision where we say, fuck it, we need to,
and then the fan
this,
base.
so we'll do it. We don't know if it's the best, but we need to do this. Whatever that is. Be it, we need to keep our manager because we can't afford to pay 2 coaches, so we're gonna do it. Or we need to get a new manager, so we're gonna do it. We're gonna bring this guy in. Like I really don't know that there's a clear sporting vision right now. There's been so much bouncing around of personnel.
I mean, in
all
translation,
year,
it's a new scapegoat for the Dusan Vlahovic fans to complain about for why he sucks again next year.
I can't see him staying.
I hope we sell him, dude. Cash in. If Chelsea's willing to pay 80+, you cash in.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Does anyone even who wants to stay beyond this season? Seriously,
I would only say Fajoli, maybe Illing, Moretti.
It's
Yeah,
great for
Kelly.
the youngsters. Yeah,
young kids maybe want to stay. Yeah, I agree. Maybe that's
Maybe
what we have to. Maybe that's what we
Chiesa.
have to.
Keane.
Maybe that's what we have to do. Maybe that's what we have to do is just hang on to those guys and say, let's see where this leads. Can they be? They're obviously skilled enough to play for a top club. I mean, they wouldn't have come through the youth ranks of one of the foremost clubs in Europe if they weren't talented and the best among their peers. But then it's like a question of how do you get them to do it at that top level? That's where you need guidance.
Colo's coming in here.
Hey, Dan's here. Awesome.
Colo's in Sicily right now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
and he's unless he's posting retroactively. I don't know. I think he's in Sicily right now. That's what I remember. I think that's what I remember him telling me when I saw him last month. Man, Jesus Christ. I'm just thrown off. I'm just thrown off at the idea. I'm thrown off at the idea that Dan Colossian, what time is it right now? 12:30 at night. His girlfriend's sleeping next to him, and he's just watching us on a live stream, saying something that's not especially helpful, but may actually be like the best solution. I don't know, man. I don't know. We kind of lost our way when we started spending big on players, man. The funny thing is the way we built up. Well, yeah, but I think
and even just before
there have been but there have been inklings for a little while as to where we were headed. I think for some time. I think like when we started the sporting project anew with Conte and Marotta in 2011, a lot of new guys have been brought in that year, and I think those guys were built on, and it was optimized, and it allowed us to dominate for a little while, and then it was like, listen, man, it's hard to stay champion. It's hard to become champion. It's harder to stay champion.
Mm-hmm.
Players want more money. Players want to go, take opportunities that are coming their way elsewhere. Everyone is thinking of how to overcome you. You know, they're taking you a lot more seriously than Empoli on a fucking Sunday in the month of March. You know, it's everything becomes harder when you're the champ. You know, and who knows if we don't wind up getting relegated to Serie B on account of point deductions, I really think that next year people won't take the club as seriously. I think people will still like beating you, but I think they'll still get up for it. But I think there will be a lot less fear. I think people will be more scared of some of the other clubs that have had more success this year, which, like, listen, is that justified or not? I don't know. Right.
You've seen that
we're
already.
We're second place. We're second place in the league right now. You know, we had a terrible season though, you know, so might that skew people's opinions of us and say, fuck it, it's only Juve. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what you need. You know, you need to kind of be underestimated a little bit. Art of war.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that? Well, you offload a lot of the big names, the guys you're overpaying for, and you kind of just hopefully bring in a coach that can get the most out of some of the younger players who are clearly, again, talented, good enough, but haven't quite put it all together. I think that's like maybe the big objective. I think you just need to accept there's no chance of getting into European football this year. You fight like hell in the courts, but it's probably not going to go your way. I think the verdict is already out. Writing's on the wall, and you just want to stay in Serie A if you can. Avoid, you know, stave off any point penalties, just, you know, and balance the books. Restart. We've never really restarted. You know, there's been talk of that for a while, and there's been talk that, you know, we need to kind of squad revamp. We sort of did it in tranches. It's never been done all at once, you know, all in one shot. I feel like, you know, overpaying for players and not being able to afford guys on the books. I think that might be what's necessary to like get rid of everyone and say, well, we gotta go cheap. You know, we gotta play Moneyball. Maybe, I don't know, fucking whatever. But there need to be austerity measures, and I think you kind of have to look to the young guys who you currently have and say, okay, who's the coach that we need for, you know, the current squad that we have? There will not be a lot of player acquisitions. Are you okay with that? So I don't think Allegri's that guy. I mean, that's pretty clear. But who? I don't know. I would like that Zedby. I don't think it's going to happen.
We've heard too, though, just on the Allegri front, that the 40 or so million that would cost to fire him and his staff is apparently a non-issue.
Really?
Apparently, there's so many rumors swirling around. I heard that. I don't know if I believe it, but I mean, Elkin, if I want to reference F1 again, he did that with the team principal at Ferrari last year. He was like, nope, like Elkin handpicked the next boss. He can do it again.
Yeah, stop giving big contracts. You got to stop giving big contracts, man. That's I don't know.
Agnelli's gone.
What are we, Chelsea Football Club? Yeah, I know, but I don't know. We really did go all in with Max Allegri, and you have to remember that it's what we all wanted. It just didn't work out, you know. But it's what we all wanted. Everyone wanted him to get, to get signed by any means necessary. You would have also given him a 5-year contract. You would have paid him what he wanted. He seemed like the only guy who had the answers because we were playing well up until we lost him, and then we stopped playing well. So it was like, well, logically, you know. Now, why are we not playing well under him anymore? Is it because of the fact that the squad's shite? You know, is it?
I think individually the squad's
the other teams got better. I don't know.
Well, all of that, but yeah, we stopped playing a lot like a team in a lot of respects, and we just have, skill gaps. You have a lot of guys like Fajoli coming up. They're young, but they still need time, and then you got dinosaurs like Di Maria up there trying to, I don't know, still do everything themselves. So it just didn't balance out, and the team hasn't been together for long enough. And then Allegri, it's his fault. Different team every single Sunday. So
yeah, I really wouldn't hate a sporting director that brings in unknown guys. You don't have to bring in the best guys from your own league. It doesn't necessarily always work out. You could scout. You could look elsewhere. It's how we succeeded in the past with the first, I think the first year or two, right? The first year or two of title wins and that run of dominance over that decade when we regained our mojo after a couple of years in the shit. Yeah, I don't know. It might happen again, The federation fucked us over. We had a couple of years of darkness, and then we wound up coming back. Well, look to that. I think you repeat that way. You're getting smoked by the federation. It doesn't necessarily have to be as bad. Hopefully there's no relegation occurring here. But then you have to say, fine, wipe the squad, start afresh, and keep what you have and buy cheap. You don't have to get the best players because you're Juve. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you consider the fact that every year there are clubs that go far in the Champions League, that are not Real Madrid. And I mean, Real Madrid is always there. There's always a rich English club. Fucking, Bayern are always pretty much there. But Porto will go on a run sometimes. Ajax will go on a run sometimes. And we always underestimate them. But then you look years later and say, oh, look in hindsight. Look at the players they had. Oh, wow. It's an impressive side that they built. You could be, you could build a team more like that, more of that ilk. It seems to be the most sustainable way to do it right now. Otherwise, like there's the Galactico model, which a lot of clubs do now, right? It's not just Real Madrid, it's Man City that are doing that. Chelsea are trying to no avail, but you don't have to go out and buy big fucking players for big money, big names. You could build up, buy low. That's the most difficult way of doing it, but it's like the most sustainable way for sure. None of you guys watching, neither of you guys on the call with me, none of you guys watching thought that we were going to make the Champions League final in 2015. We were all over the moon when we beat Madrid.
Yeah.
When Morata scored that, we were losing our minds. We weren't supposed to. Now, if Juve's playing Madrid, I mean, yeah, you're going to lose your mind because it's still a big deal. But I think you've forgotten where we were. I don't know. It's almost like we were humbled for a while. And then it was like, well, we don't expect nice things to happen anymore. And then we were just used to only nice things happening. So therefore, we're one of the big guys now.
Yeah, that's a plethora of the fan base. Because if you make this argument right now, they'll look at you and be like, "Oh, but Sam, you're reducing your expectations for the club instead of looking at things logically." And it's like, come on now.
No, again, we've been over this so many times.
It's just one of those things. It's one of those arguments because it's like this is probably one of the best takes I've heard because it's like Sam hits it right on the nail. Like there's times where we weren't expected to do it and we did it and we're like, oh hey, wow, this is really good. It's like when you beat off for the first time, you don't know what's expected. And it's like, wow, this is great. You do it a little bit too much, it gets raw, and then it's like you're like, oh shit, I'm doing it too much, I'm bleeding. But
well
But yeah, seriously, it's kind of like that analogy, and it's like you gotta lay off a little bit. It's not lowering your standards or anything like that. It's just taking a step back and looking at things objectively.
Yeah, we've gone full circle with beating off.
Yeah,
we did. We
you don't
jerking off. We're ending it with jerking off.
We're shooting for the fences, man.
Literally two pumps.
Let's get some base hits.
Right in the face.
That's what I would say.
Jesus,
sploosh.
Oh man, well you guys both have to leave at about 6:30, so I don't want to keep you up. So that being said, because we went back to jerking off, I think it's time. Frankie, you've been there. Anyways, yeah. Well,
I've never bled.
No.
No. When am I a woman?
You get raw. When you're like 13,
bleeding from your genitals. What's wrong with you?
Jesus, I want to get that checked. Badly.
Oh my God.
You probably don't get enough torque on it because you're using your left.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not getting enough torque on that boy. Get a fucking torque stick for it.
Oh boy, Jesus. I've never bled. What the fuck? Orange face, raised eyebrow. Yeah, people are saying they haven't bled in the comments. I don't know, Dash. I don't know, buddy.
I didn't say it was me. I was just saying, there's some folks. There's some folks that have to get a stick because they're so used to the motion, so they have to like give them a stick. It's like I've heard that like psychiatrists will give people sticks.
Sticks,
like oral fixation. Like if you have oral fixation,
yeah.
You quit smoking and you just
I'm dead serious. Oh man,
boy,
it's you to say, holy shit, we.
Frank, it's too bad you just showed up because
I know, Frankie, you just missed it. You missed us opening with hand jobs, finishing with hand jobs. Ironically, finishing with hand jobs.
It's good. Perfect Thursday.
It'll be posted up, right? People can go back and
you can watch it.
Yeah. We don't delete anything unless. And JJ, if you're still here, thanks for pointing out. Dash, you told me as well. I didn't just get the player wrong of that last short that I put up. I just uploaded the wrong short altogether. That's what I did. Only 28 people saw it because I guess YouTube realized it was the same short I posted a few days ago.
And it was
like, I was like, no, 28 people. We even lost a subscriber for being dumb.
That's not what you want. One single subscriber. Oh, by the way, one solitary subscriber. I owe you an apology. I was like, I want to get to 1,000 subscribers as quickly as possible, which I still do. I was like, sure. I want to get monetized, And you were like, well, good luck. We've been at it for a year. I never doubted how difficult it was, but I think me just talking about it even being like a goal, like I was just casually saying it, like through no, I don't know.
The subscribers ain't
like it was
isn't
just
the
organically
issue.
like it was gonna happen. Like it's quite difficult to get picked up by the YouTube algo, man. I'm having a fucking hell of a
It
time.
is. But once you get going, you go.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
once you get going, but the thing is, it's like, dude, it's not even like the subscribers that's the bitch. It's the watch
The watch
hours. That's a
hours,
pain in
yeah.
the ass.
I'll just take the subs first, man. Yeah, feel free to go sub to the Bordello on YouTube, man. I'll take everyone I can get. Dave was right. It is very challenging. So I won't cherry pick him anymore. I don't care
take what you get.
if you're listening to us talking about bleeding dicks. I'll still take you. You could listen. You could listen to me.
That's exactly what your podcast is, though.
I don't.
Let's be honest. Like, I mean, it's intelligent. There's intelligence mixed in with that, and a bit of culture once in a while.
Sure.
But there's also a lot of bleeding dick talk.
Yeah, no, guys, you got to check Sam's stuff out. Like Sam,
I love it. I
has,
listen
like,
to it every week.
It's a
Thank you.
very, very good setup. Like it's
Thank
not,
you, gents.
it's not like
Yeah,
you guys
nobody
are
nobody knows about it. So that's
Yeah, you guys absolutely
Guys,
check it out. I've been listening to you for a year, since you were what, like 20? When
like
did you start?
Sam's got
Started when I
baddies.
was
Like
20.
Sam has baddies for captions. Like, let's be real here. I remember the one time I commented on it, like, this caption's fucking hilarious, and Sam's like, boing, someone's in horny jail, and I was like, what?
But you got some big yeah, who's that?
YouTube's hard. YouTube's different because people that just listen continue to listen anyway. Does that make sense? Like they go to the car, they go to work, they're listening in the car.
Yeah,
The audio listeners haven't dropped, but I've been on YouTube for like 2-3 months now, and so you're starting from zero. You're starting on a whole new platform. Some people will listen, but it's most people just won't break the habit. So you're basically starting with 0 people and trying to like appeal to like this mass like sea of folks that are online, but you're hoping that it finds them, and it's hard to because there's a lot of content out there. But feel free to go sub if you'd like. I always like coming on with you guys. I appreciate you invited me back. I mean it's a vendetta. That's all it is. We'll see how deep the rabbit hole goes. But it could get worse. Just don't be surprised when it happens.
Hey, Colin, sorry, Sam. Hey, Colin, man, appreciate it, dude, because Giuseppe and us, we're really, really, really good friends with Beppe, or as most people know him as Gigas Juve. I mean, we work together for Juventus on the Twitch stuff, as well as some collaborations. Beppe rocks a lot of our merchandise. You'll see some Turin Giants merchandise in Beppe's background. He did get the No Pirlo, No Party shirt first, so I believe Farhad has made it available. So you can go buy it at the Turin Giants store.
Very sexy.
So yeah, you can get yourself.
Farhad keeps slapping, man. He's cooking with those shirts. I like him a lot.
And there's a lot of connections there. So I know
Yeah.
Beppe put up a picture of his studio, who he has the same
posters Dave does.
Poster
And
right
then-
there, who's done up by Colo, who's also a Canadian, who also joined us on the chat tonight and is a Juventino. So there you go. It's a big family. That's what we love to do.
It is one big orgy.
Bleeding dicks and all.
Bleeding dicks
Yeah.
with left hands.
Left-handed.
Ironically, my left hand is my
Splooge.
dominant hand, so I'm a
Splooge.
righty.
All right, guys. I think
Wonderful. We've directed this conversation.
we cashed in. So that being said, we'll take it away here. I'll get the music ready because we always have to take it out here. Thank you everyone for joining. Sam as well. It's always a pleasure. Dash, take it away.
Alrighty, you sons of bitches. No, I'm just kidding. All right, everybody, you monsters, you Giantino. We got to figure out a name for our loyal folks. But anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in to the Walmart version of the Bordello podcast because it's Dave and Dash and Sam. I'm just kidding. But anyways, guys, go ahead, check out Sam's actual YouTube channel, The Bordello, where you can listen to some awesome shenanigans, conspiracy stories, and masturbating with your left hand after sitting on it. But anyways, guys, that's our thoughts. Again, make sure you send this to a friend. Send it to your buddy. We'll catch you on the next one, guys. We love you. We'll see you some point for the call-in show on Saturday. So we'll see you Saturday.
Stop the bone.